Here's the box. Give you a list of everything that comes with it. It's a 2 horsepower fixed base router. Fixed base router works a little differently. Okay, so this is how you take out router bit. Put a small wrench around the motor, and then you take the big wrench and put it around the collet cover. Loosen that up, and then this will spin right off. As you can see, this is the 1/4 inch collet insert, and that sometimes will get stuck on there, and you just have to get you a couple pair of pliers and pull it off. It's the easiest way to do it. So this is the 1/4 inch, fits down in there without anything. It's a 1/2 inch, and it also has a 3/8 inch insert. 3/8 inch router shafts are not the most common thing in the world. You can see it doesn't balance very well. Comes with a nice 1/2 inch straight cutting router bit with carbide tipped. So start to screw this on without an insert in it. Put the router bit in, tighten it up. Take your bottom wrench to hold the motor steady, and then this will tighten it up. Wish they'd have made that flat. So there you go, all ready to go. Now I want to demonstrate the bottom, so I'm going to go ahead and take this back out. Just finger tighten that. I actually give you a nice holder to put this in too. This is Drill Master, which is I consider their lowest line, but this router to me is a very nice router. So the fixed base is this base. The body goes in and turns, and that's how you get your depth from the bottom. So you twist it out, retracts, twist it in, router bit comes out. So get it where you want it, and you start using it. You don't see these as much anymore because the plunge router has become so common, but I have a plunge router. I've had it for a while. I like this one so much better. This can act as a plunge router. You just put it off center and push it down. Of course, that's not going to be perfect. You can also unlock it and turn it down to make it a plunge router, although that doesn't work the best. And it has a way that you can use this ring to determine how far down it goes. It also has a way to put this guide on. You move this down the side of the wood. Get a piece of wood to demonstrate that. So now I adjust this how I want to cut. I'll tighten these screws. Of course, the reverse of that's true. You can loosen these 2 screws and adjust it this way. And I can run this down the side of the board. That's going to give me a nice straight slot along that. I can use that just as easy to do along the side if I don't have a bearing on the router bit. So I don't typically use these this much. I want to mount a router in a router lift in a router table. That way I don't have to use this. I can use a regular fence. But it is there, and it does work. So this is the release. That allows it to spin. That tightens it up. And it has this plate on the bottom. It's a black plastic plate. And I have a feeling that I'll be able to use that with a piece of plywood and make different attachments for this, like a circle cutter, something like that. Gives me a lot of versatility having this cover. The problem with these little parts is keeping track of them. Give you a spare set of bushings, and these would mount in the sides on each side. So if you do wear the bushings over time, they give you a replacement. Okay, I've got a 1/4 inch router bit in here. That's what I did the demonstration with. I want to show the adjustment scale on this. If you look at this, there's a ring here, and that has little graduations on it. And every one of those tick marks is supposed to be 1/64th. And then they have 1/8, 1/2, 3/4. So every 1/4 inch they have a mark that is labeled. So in between is 1/64th. But before you can use that, you've got to align it based on where your router bit goes. Now remember, you rotate the depth of the router bit by turning the base. So turn the base until the router bit is barely touching the table. So there, I've done that. So now you have to find this graduation mark right here. Now turn this black piece until 0 on the guide matches that index mark. Then to adjust the depth of cut, and then you grab the base and start turning the motor. But as you can see, the graduation scale moves with it. That's a little bit of a bad design. So what you have to do is start all over again with the base barely touching the surface and set 0 to the index, and that is not easy to do. So what I usually do is open this and kind of adjust it before I clamp that shut. So now I have 0 index, but when I go to adjust that, I've got to grab a hold of this and hold it in reference to the base, so that when I start rotating this, the index mark will tell me how high or low I'm going without that turning, so I actually know. If you don't do that, you can't trust the guide, because it moves as you spin the motor. So there is 1/4, 1/2, 1/4, 3/8, 1/2. So without jarring anything, I can then clip that, and now I'm going to cut 1/2. And that's where the index mark is. It's kind of hard to see that. You kind of got to move it around in the light before you can see the labels. But they are there, and it does help. It's a little awkward. I think that's why the way this adjusts by turning is why they came up with the plunge router, and it works a lot better. But there are places where I want a router like this one, the more traditional router. I find this one a lot more useful in a lot of different ways. I end up using this one a lot more than I use my plunge router. So that's how you can adjust the scale. If you follow the directions, you will set it wrong, because you'll set it to 0, then you'll rotate the motor or the base, and this black ring will turn independent of those two, so you lose your index mark. If you grab a hold of the black piece when you turn and let it stay stationary to the base while you turn the motor, then it'll work fine. The alternative would be to hold the motor and then hold this to the base and turn the base and it at the same time. I find it easier to move the motor. Now these cullets, you're going to have to find some place to put those, because it would be kind of tragic to lose those. This is the 3/8 bit. Luckily I have a drawer I keep all router related equipment in. push down all the way for some reason on the first pass, but it picked it up on the second pass. I probably didn't have it quite long enough to see where it's threaded, or this isn't uniform across the piece. So I probably just need some sandpaper on this. So what did I end up with? I ended up with this square that's about a 1/2 inch smaller all around, and that will let me cut blanks to put in this, more than one plate to put in there for the router to come through. So overall, pretty happy with that. Demonstrated how the router cuts. A lot of people don't like the Drill Master brand because it is Harbor Freight's lowest brand, cheapest brand. By the time I got all the discounts, this router was $52. Thought that was a pretty good deal for a 2 horsepower router. I specifically wanted the fixed base router, and that's what they call this, fixed base. Okay, 2 horsepower fixed base router. It adjusts by turning the body itself. Comes with 1 router bit. Harbor Freight has several small and large router bit sets. They also have for door styles, panels. So to me, a 2 horsepower router is very nice. It's going to have all the power you need to cut most things. So if you like the videos, please subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.